Hello, I'm Domonique Foxworth, joining you from Podville Media in Washington, D.C., and this is the only football show that's undefeated, never lost. Age is a question of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. Quote from the great Leroy Satchel Paige. Today, we look back at the big game, including the best parts, the commercials, and halftime show the weekend went in. We discuss all the changes and how this will impact Mahomes' legacy, and we'll connect the dots on some other star QBs in the league. Warning, this week I'm showing up to the cookout with a Kangol and some new jewelry like my man Bruce Arians, cause I don't give a damn. The Super Bowl came down to Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes and preventing that Mahomes magic that we have seen all season long. And with the conclusion of the big game, the offseason begins. Here to break it all down with me is the undefeated culture and sports writer, Justin Tinsley. What up, JT?
My brother, what's good with you?
Not much, man. How'd you enjoy the game? How was your whole viewing experience?
Well, Dominique, I'll be honest with you. I had a friendly wager with my girlfriend on the game. I bet on the Chiefs. She bet on the Bucs. If the Chiefs won, she would have to go pick up all of our packages for a week because, you know, we do a lot of online shopping. If the Bucs win, I have to clean the bathrooms. So guess who's on bathroom duty?
Yeah, I feel like you got the short end of that bet to start with. So, all right, JT, let's get ready for the first discussion topic. Let's go to control room. Big Trav, what it is.
For the first time since high school, Patrick Mahomes' team failed to score a touchdown. How does this loss change Patrick Mahomes' legacy?
I mean, it's so early to be talking legacy. He's only in his third year as a starter, but what he's done has been incredible. But JT, what do you think about this impact in the way we remember Patrick Mahomes?
For me, I still view him as the same, generational talent that he was before last night. I think it's very unfair to start talking about, his legacy is forever impacted by this. The man lost to the greatest quarterback of all time. His offensive line was in shambles. That defense played remarkably. I think it's more of a credit to Todd Bowles and that defense, and obviously Tom Brady at quarterback, than it is an indictment on Patrick Mahomes. I can't speak for everybody, but look, I understand he played the worst game of his football career, whether it be little league, high school, college, pro. But look, I feel very confident when 99.9% of football fans would still love to have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback.
Even last night in his loss, he looked incredible throwing like parallel passes that were hitting people in the face mask. So he is something special, but I do think that it's going to matter. The further we get away from this game, at some point in Patrick Mahomes' career, if it continues the way we've been seeing it, we're going to start realistically comparing him to Tom Brady. And it's going to matter that he lost his game to Tom Brady. I know that it's not his fault, and I know that he's still probably better than Tom Brady, but when we start having this GOAT conversation, I guess 15 years from now, people are going to bring this up and say Patrick Mahomes never beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. His 2 playoff losses are to Tom Brady, so we'll see how it all pans out. Big Trav, what's next?
Why does Todd Bowles deserve more credit for this Super Bowl victory?
You can't give him enough credit for what he was able to do. They didn't score a touchdown. This was the best offense that we had seen in the history of football, with the most amazing magician playing quarterback, and with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid coordinating that offense to a degree that we had never seen before. We thought that even if they were beatable, the recipe was to outscore them or to have the ball last, not to just completely shut them out. So I guess I don't know how much credit Todd Bowles is getting, but whatever it is, it's not enough. What do you think, JT?
Yeah, no, I'm pushing all the chips to the center of the table on this. Todd Bowles deserved Super Bowl MVP because, like you said, we were hyping that offense up for great reason, amongst the great offenses in all of sports, not just the NFL. And this guy dialed it up. I was reading that the Bucs got 29 pressures on Patrick Mahomes last night. That's a Super Bowl record. And only 2 times they sent extra rushers. That means the front four was getting it in all night. And that was dialed up by Todd Bowles. Whatever credit he's getting, I mean, of course, the ultimate credit would be, a head coaching gig, but that's another discussion for another time. Like, that was one of the most masterful defensive performances that I've ever seen watching football.
Big Trav, what's next?
On one hand, Cam Newton looks to be moving on from New England. You have Dwayne Haskins, who will be suiting up with the Steelers. And on the other hand, the Eagles are expected to move Carson Wentz any day now. Which black QB is under the most pressure entering next season.
There are a lot of really talented black quarterbacks in the league right now, but I feel like I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts because he's got to have the most to prove. They're going to run off a guy that, while granted he was probably the worst quarterback in the league last year in Carson Wentz, he's a guy who at one point, just 2 years ago, you thought you could build something around. So I think there's a lot more pressure on Jalen Hurts. So many of those other guys, I think Cam Newton may not even be starting next year, so there's not going to be much pressure on him. I'm pretty sure that Haskins is also going to be on the bench next year. And a lot of those other names are kind of solidified as the players that they're going to be. And I left out Deshaun Watson. What do you think about that? He might be on another team after forcing his way out. That might be some pressure too. Justin, what do you think?
I hate to say it, but Lamar Jackson. Like, obviously, this is a former MVP, one of the most dynamic players we have ever seen. But at some point, he's going to have to get over that hump, and that hump has to be a conference championship at least. He's yet to make it there in his years as a starter. He's still very young, but I do feel like we're getting to that point in his career, sort of like Giannis in the NBA. It was like, we know how great you are. You won these individual accolades. But now, you have to lead your team over this hump, which is the divisional round for him, at least right now. So, unfortunately, and I hope he does, because I really, really love watching Lamar Jackson play football. But I do feel like next season is a huge proving ground season for Lamar Jackson.
I mean, I think he does it so differently from other people that a lot of people are looking for a reason to kind of downgrade Lamar Jackson. That's my dad always used to tell me when I would go out when I was young. Don't give them a reason. They are just looking for a reason. Don't give them a reason. So Lamar Jackson is in a don't give him a reason type of season. All right, Justin, before we let you go, I want you to step into the culture corner of the show with me. Let's go rapid fire. First of all, what did you think of Jasmine Sullivan sharing the spotlight with country singer Eric Church during the national anthem?
No disrespect to Eric Church, but that boy could not keep up with Jasmine Sullivan last night. It should have been a solo Jasmine Sullivan performance. I'm still a little perturbed by that, but Jasmine did her thing, which I knew she would.
But I gotta give Eric some credit. Purple suede coat was killing him. That was his best contribution to the national anthem. What did you think about the Weeknd's halftime performance, Justin? You are my favorite person to come to on music and all things culture. The Weeknd did his thing in the halftime performance. What did you think about it?
The fact that he spent $7 million of his own money to fund that is still wild to me. But I enjoyed the visual aesthetics of it. I'm not the biggest Weeknd fan in the world, but listening to the medley of songs he performed last night, I was like, yeah, the dude does have some hits. And again, I'm not his biggest fan in the world, but what I really, really loved and what I truly appreciated, the all-black ensemble he had behind him on that stage. I thought that was really powerful. And so, it wasn't the greatest halftime performance in the world, but it was far from the worst too.
It was also kind of unique because they found ways to incorporate mask and social distancing in a way that didn't feel weird. And they also didn't have any cameos. That's one thing I think about Super Bowl performances often is like, surprise, guess who's here? And that's part of the fun. So it was impressive that the Weeknd was able to carry a halftime show by himself, because you're right. He was, there were a lot of hits, and I'm not a big The Weeknd guy, but I felt myself like, and I love it. All right, which commercial had you the most excited?
That Michael B. Jordan as Alexa commercial was hilarious. And there were some lines, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the sprinkler line? Yeah,
yes, the sprinkler. Yeah, I'm like, yo, the kids are still awake. Like, what's going on? But that was a good one off the top of my head that I can remember. What was yours?
I think the Drake one, that caught me off guard, where Drake was in the State Farm one. But I think my favorite commercial was just the Oatly one. You remember the oat milk commercial? It was just so bad. The CEO clearly has been working to build this company in order to get the money that he can play his keyboard and sing on TV at the Super Bowl. Because that's all it was. It was like a nameless guy who was the CEO of the company, who we didn't know yesterday, sitting in the middle of an oat field, I would guess, playing a song about oat milk. And I was like, how is this gonna work? How did he convince? Don't you got like shareholders or somebody who's like, what? So we gonna pay $6 million so you can,
That commercial was a success, because my girlfriend watched it. She was like, I knew I forgot to get oat milk from the grocery store the other day. So maybe that was it. But yes, you had your one moment in the Super Bowl, and that was it. But
all right, JT. Well, I appreciate you joining us, and take care of yourself. Get some rest. I know I need some rest.
Look, man, you do the same, and tell the family I said hello, and thank you for having me on here, brother.
That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the Undefeated on YouTube to catch up on previous episodes. You're welcome.